Good morning, everyone. So, in today's video, I want to talk about how you can make your first $1,000 before the end of the year. And I'll basically be showing you the way I did it, how I made my first $10,000 online as a freelance copywriter, and then how me and my partners got our clients that allowed us to scale to 200,000 a year with our agency. So just so you know that this is not just some framework that I saw in some YouTube video, whatever. No, this is something that I've learned from programs myself and then refined through actual experience. But before I will get into all of that, let's first get a morning coffee, morning espresso, because today is a fasting day. Now, actually, before I'll get my coffee, I'll first pray, because that's probably the thing that sets me straight for the entire day. If I skip it, then, well, I'm way more likely to fall out of place. So that's probably one of the most important things to do. So first we'll pray, and then we'll go get coffee. All right, so got the morning espresso. Now it's like 9:30 a.m. and I don't really think about it much, but if I think about it, like most people are already like at their 9 to 5. They've just been in traffic for like 30 minutes, 1 hour, and basically I can wake up whenever I want and enjoy a morning coffee for like an hour, like listen to business calls. I have a very long morning routine. A lot of people will shit on that. I actually, for me, it really really helps me. But it depends on the person, I think. But throughout this video, I'll be taking you on like 5 practical steps that you can take to make your first 1,000 online before the end of the year. But before we talk about any practical stuff, before we talk about any tactics or strategies, the first thing that you need to do is step number one is design your lifestyle. This is the number one mistake that I made. This is the mistake that I see other people make, and it's just chasing money blindly. And the problem with this is if you don't know what type of life that you want, then you are going to do anything to make the money. The problem is that sometimes you'll notice that it's not worth it. The reason why you want to make the money is to live a specific lifestyle and to achieve specific goals, right? If you do not have a good grasp of those, unconsciously you'll sacrifice them to make the money, right? Which is, contradicting, but that's why first and foremost, I recommend you start with that. Write it down. What are all the things that you really want to achieve in your life? What is the lifestyle that you really want to live? If you think about it on a daily basis, where do you want to be? Who do you want to have around? What do you want to be doing? Those kinds of questions. Make it as detailed as possible. But anyway, normally I would sit here for another like 30 minutes to listen to business calls. Today, I'm way more on edge to get work done. So it depends, right? Sometimes I'll take more time. Sometimes I'll just get to work immediately. It depends how I feel, I guess. But either way, whatever the list of things is that I have on my plate, I will always just get them done, right? That's the most important thing. How I get them done, at what time I get them done, that doesn't matter, right? The most important thing is that I get them done. That's it. So yeah, let's get back inside and let's get some work done. All right, cool. So I just finished up my 2-3 hour work session right now. And then after this, I'll probably go to like either co working space or I'll go outside to a cafe to start my second work session of the day. But before I do that, let me talk about step two of the 5 step process to make your first $1,000 before the end of the year, which is to find your skill. Personally, inside of my community, I have a sheet that's called the skill fit test, and I'll actually give you access to that for free. I'll just link it in the link in the description so you can use that. Basically, it's a framework on how to choose which skill you will pick to start offering that as a freelancing service to other businesses, right? I tend to recommend either a four, which is copywriting, video editing, sales or DM setting, or thumbnail design, because these are skills that are linked very, very closely to revenue. So when you look inside of the sheet, you will see different columns, right? There's one column for interest, there's one column from experience, there's one column for social energy, or basically like how social you are. And then for personality, are you like a creative person or are you like more an analytical person like I am? Because first and foremost, I think your skills should be based on interest or curiosity, because if you have no interest in learning a specific skill whatsoever, then how are you going to like practice it every single day? How you're going to offer it as a service for businesses? Like, it's not going to work, man. You need to actually be interested in the skill that you're learning. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So that's the most important thing. You'll give a score of 1 to 5, right? Then your level of experience, right? Do you already have experience with writing? Do you already have experience with sales? And this could be any type of experience, right? For example, I personally was very good in writing English essays, stories years prior. Like I'd have my English teacher in college. She was praising me in front of the entire class, like how good of a writer I was, etc., etc. So I was already pretty good at writing, right? Even though I didn't do any copywriting before, but that was like a thing that gave me an edge in the skill, right? That's why I progressed much faster in copywriting than other people. So for example, if you have some experience with sales already, right, then perhaps going into closing or DM setting may be a good idea for you, right? It depends. Or maybe you have some experience in design as well. Whatever it is, you give a score of 1 to 5, whatever your level of experience is, then you need to also consider if you're a social person or not. Because if you're not a social person, you don't like talking too much like I do, then probably copywriting or video editing or even thumbnail design, those are better skills, obviously, than DM setting or closing where you're talking to people all the time. And then the last one is personality. So, for example, if you're a very creative person, then copywriting is actually probably the best way, because copy is coming up with new ideas, right? Literally, that's your job, to come up with new angles, new ideas, new content all the time, right? That is your job. For me, that's very, very hard to do because my brain is just not wired that way, right? I want organization, I want repetitive, boring tasks essentially. A lot other people, they're completely the opposite, right? So if you are that type of person, copywriting is a very, very good idea. Video editing is also more creative, design as well, but they're less creative because you're going more off of already established designs, already established edits, and kind of like recreating that. But if you're more of an analytical person, you don't like talking to anyone, like I said, then for example, DM setting or sales could be good. But either way, actually video editing and design could be good for you as well, because it's creative, but it's a lot less creative than copywriting, in my opinion, right? Just to give you a little bit of a framework of like how this skill fit test works, right? And then just fill in everything. There will be a calculation at the end depending on the importance of every single column, and that will be your final score. Whichever one has the highest score, that's the one that you will actually pursue, right? And then you will get into step 3, which is the daily skill flow, which I'll talk about in a minute. But first, I'll get ready and go outside to get ready for my second work session of the day. Step number 3 is to go through your daily skill flow, which is basically a daily process that you should be following in order to get better at the skill. Because obviously, in order to offer businesses enough value to the point where they can pay you hundreds or even thousands of dollars per month, then you need to be skilled. But you also don't need to be an expert from the beginning, right? So you can get clients while you are building up your skill. So first thing that you need to do after doing your daily skill flow test and actually deciding like I'm going to do this skill, that's when you'll actually start learning. In my community, I always recommend specific resources, but just find some resource online that you can find and just make sure that it's credible, that it's someone that has genuinely had great results, so you don't follow just any random process. And then just start learning from there, right? Then the first thing that I recommend you do is, depending on the skill, right, write
a piece of copy every single day. Edit a piece of short form content every single day. If you're an editor, have like a couple of role play conversations if you're a DM setter or closer every single day. Same thing for design, right? I just do this every single day. Then the next thing what you do is you will dissect a successful piece of copy, a successful ad, a successful video, a successful sales conversation, a successful DM conversation. You should just be able to find these online. So that's number three. And then the last thing is you're going to learn and watch a piece of content, read a book on a topic that will make you better in said skill. Then the last thing is you need to reflect, right? So every day you should reflect like, okay, what did I learn? What can I do better? How can I improve? Make sure that you go through this exact flow every single day so that you can keep improving. And this should be like mandatory. You cannot skip this. And it should be a daily process, right? Because it's about consistency. It's not about intensity and learn like reading 10 books in one day. No, it's about like building up this skill consistently and making it almost part of who you are. So that's step number three. All right. And then we come to step number 4, which is to get real experience. And I do this with a thing called the first client challenge. Basically, you will be writing down everyone that you know that has a business, or anyone that you know that knows someone that has a business, right? So you're going to write down all the names, all the contacts, and what you're going to do is you're going to send all of these people a message basically offering them to help out for free. However, you need to curate your message properly. Of course, you need to be respectful. You need to be honest and transparent. So, for example, just at the top of my tongue, I have a specific message inside of the community that I cannot recall right now, but I'll give you a rough version. First, of course, you need to state how you know the person. So, hey, I heard from X, Y, and Z that you are doing X, Y, and Z. I've actually been getting into, and then insert skill, and I'm taking it very, very seriously. You can even like state your goal if that's what you want to do. The first thing that you want to do is get real world experience, and that's why you're reaching out. You can state a couple specific things that you can offer them, which you need to look at their brand or look at their website, or maybe ask the person what you think you can help them with. So for example, if it's a, I don't know, man, car detailing business and you're a copywriter, and for example, if they're running ads already, you could be like, hey, I can write you some ads creatives that you can start using for your ads. I can help you set up follow-up messages with people so that they rebook car detailing, whatever. Be a little bit creative with this. But the main thing is that you give some practical examples so that they start to think. The more specific examples you can give them, I recommend you give them 2 or 3, the more real it gets. And then another important thing that you should do is say that, hey, we don't have to get on a call for this. We don't need to do a meeting if you don't have time for that. I want to respect your time. So you can just send me a voice note of what you need, or send me like a message, and I'll get it done. And then you can say, I don't want any payments. If you like the work, then all I'm asking for is a testimonial. Because this is something that I didn't realize in the beginning, but a testimonial, bro, a real business or brand stating that you do good work, that you are trustworthy, and perhaps even like stating some of the results that your work brought in, is way, way, way more valuable than $100, $200, even $500. It doesn't matter, right? Because these testimonials, these first little testimonials and case studies, is what's going to help you make your first $1,000, your first $10,000. Okay, so don't worry about making money right now. First, you need to get some real world experience, and you need to get some social proof. You need to get some testimonials, right? Because when you start doing cold outreach, right, which is one of the next steps, when you start reaching out to people that don't know you at all, you will need to give them some social proof. And this is where these results will come in. Now, before I give you the last step, which is step number 5, I'll be hitting a workout. It's leg day today. I'm actually not in the mood for that at all. I haven't eaten anything yet. I'm tired. But either way, I'm going to get it done. So if you want to hear what the last step of the process is to actually get paid clients, stick around to the end of the video. workout is done. Now, let's talk about step number 5, which is to finally craft your offer and start doing cold outreach, right? And what I want you to keep in mind, first and foremost, is that you think about the perspective of the person that you're reaching out to, right? I think that's a thing that a lot of people forget, don't take into account. And that is the reason why they suck, why nobody opens, why nobody replies, why nobody books any calls with them. They want to see that you understand their problems and that you give them a clear on how you can help them, right? People don't like bullshit. They've already seen enough of it. So the best thing is to be real and of course add in as much social proof as you have, like we just talked about testimonials and stuff like this. As much as you have, try to add that into the outreach. But yeah, most important things is that you understand their problem, that you give a clear offer on how to solve it. Also be professional. Don't have a professional name, have a professional email. Don't have weird emails or weird pictures or anything. Use this is basic stuff, but I know not everyone does that because I manage several inboxes. But this is the best feedback I can give you. The most important thing also that we have asked our clients, like, why did you decide to book a call? That is the reason that they stated. It felt like you guys actually went through my stuff. You guys actually understood my problem. That is why I decided to book a call and see what you guys have to offer, right? That is the main thing that has gotten us sales calls booked and that has gotten us clients. By the way, quick hack. If you are, for example, if you're Indian or if you're Arab and your name is Mohammed or your name is, I don't know, like some Indian name, and I don't mean this in a bad way at all, guys, not at all. I want to help you guys. Basically, if you have a common name that gets associated with spam and stuff like this, I really highly recommend you change your name or that you have a nickname of sorts. For example, if normally your name is Mohammed, put Mo, right? MO as a abbreviated version. Maybe if you can also abbreviate your last name, anything to not signal to people that you are the same as everyone else, because I get so many emails, people, with Indian or Arab names, and I'm sorry, but every time when I open them, it's not good. So then every time when people see that name, they will associate it with what they've seen before. And a simple way to go around that is by changing the name. Use abbreviated versions, use English versions of it. That's a very, very big tip that I can give you. It'll help a lot to get opens, at least, so the people will see your offer at least. Okay, now let's go shower and end the day.
All right, man. So there you have it. Those are all the 5 steps that you need to follow to make your first $1,000 before the end of the year. And to give you a little bit of an idea how long it would take to get your first client, it would take around 1,000 quality outreaches, right? And that may seem like a lot. I know it does, but to be honest with you, if you're very, very consistent and you incrementally increase your volume of outreach per day, then you can definitely get there. And again, quality outreaches, make sure that you have a good outreach template and make sure that you're reaching out to the right people with the right offer. If all that stuff is dialed in, it'll take around 1,000 outreaches to get your first paying clients. And yeah, man, that's all it takes, to be honest with you. And yeah, if you have any questions, please just drop them in the comments. If you want to have a in-depth step-by-step process, then I'll also link the community with all the freelancing guides and everything inside, so you can access that as well. But yeah, I'll just be chilling right now, eating, and then rounding up for the day. But if you like the video, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and if you have any ideas for other topics that you would want to hear about, just comment them down below. All right, see you in the next one.